Hi, everyone. Good morning. I hope you have enjoyed your session so far. We're excited to welcome you to your second one of the day. And my name is Madeline Kars-Batson. I am the Research and Policy Director at the Louisiana Policy Institute for Children. Before we get started, here are a few quick housekeeping items. You can chat with our speaker and myself in the chat box. If you are having tech problems, please feel free to chat me. We do have our tech team on this webinar with us, so we're happy to help. If you have any questions, please type them in the Q&A box. If you have a question for our speaker, you can do it there. And we'll have time for Q&A at the end, so don't hesitate to add your questions as we go along. Let's get into our exciting second session. Here with us, we have Dr. Lisa Flanders-Dick, who is a visionary educator, researcher, and consultant passionate about promoting and fostering effective technology-enhanced teaching, learning, and leadership. With over 30 years as an educator, her experience has included teaching, project coordination, grant writing, staff development, and consulting. Lisa is currently the director of ELRI, Emergent Learning Research Institute, and a part of the Curriculum Instruction and Leadership faculty in the College of Education and Human Sciences at Louisiana Tech University. Dr. Lisa, thank you so much for being here, and we are excited to see your presentation.
Thank you so much. So I'm going to go ahead and share my presentation. You'll notice that there's a resource button at the bottom of the screen, and you do have a link to the presentation there. And I'll also provide a second option for that as well. So welcome to Create, Explore, and Connect, where we're going to look at how we can empower early learners with 21st century skills. So as mentioned, I am a practitioner, researcher, and a lifelong learner. We won't mention how long that lifelong learning has been happening, but it's been for quite a while. This is my contact information, and in case you have any trouble with the resource button, this QR code can also take you to the presentation. One note is that whenever you're accessing the presentation, especially if you're on an iPad or on your phone, you may want to click to access the speaker notes because various links are in there and some additional information, which I will reference throughout. So today we're going to take a look at what in the world are 21st century skills. And then the presentation is set up looking through Create, Explore, Connect model, which basically that is the structure that we have in ELRI. We have 3 studios. And then we're going to look at 3 examples because I feel like it's extremely helpful to see, okay, here's these words, here's this research for 21st century skills, but what does it actually look like for early childhood? And for these early learners, we're focusing, I know that can be like birth to 4. In our program, it can be pre-K to 3. So I'm focusing on that kind of 3-year-olds to 1st grade would be the focus. So let's just jump right in with a quick introduction to what are 21st century skills. And I would like for us to kind of get a little bit of a foundation of the why. So we're going to watch just a piece of this video. There is a link that you will notice in case for some reason we cannot hear it over Zoom. So as you can tell, we are definitely living in exponential times. And this video is only 4 minutes long if you would like to see the rest of it. And it was created in 2018. So when I look at this, I kind of think back of, oh, wow, I lived through some of this. And you will notice that I do have the sound shared. Sometimes, sorry about that. Thank you for popping that in the chat. So I did use a Bitly link where you can actually see this video. You do not have to hear it. It's just music playing in the background. Uh, but so again, it was just music in the background. All the words were on the screen. With Zoom, sometimes the videos will not allow you to hear them. And so that's why that Bitly link is on there. So as I watch that, each time I just think about how many things that I've lived through, and I'm always astonished at different things that pop up, such as it only took 19 days to reach 1 million people for Pokemon Go and things like that. So we are living in a time that is just constantly changing. And our kids that we have now, we're actually preparing them for jobs that don't even exist yet, or the jobs that exist now are going to look totally different by the time they are here in the career time. So I would like to just see, like when you were watching that, and we only watched a little piece of it, but what made you go, oh, wow? Or maybe what did it make you think of or make you wonder? If you could just pop that in the chat real quick. What were you surprised about? Or what did it connect to in your brain that made you wonder, I wonder about blank? If you'll just pop it in the chat just real quick. So if everyone will type one thing, and then I'm going to say go, and it'll be a waterfall effect where everyone's is in there. So what was one thing in the video that really stood out to you? Or what did it connect to and made you think, I want to look at this, or I want to see this? Okay, so we're going to see how many of you are willing to participate. So I'm going to do a countdown and everyone push enter. 3, 2, 1, enter. Let's see if we got that waterfall effect. Thank you for those of you that participated. So the exponential growth, yes, it is crazy. For those of you that were around when we switched from like Web 1.0, where we just went on there to maybe find an address or basic information, to 2.0, where we were chatting and could, back in the MySpace time, it is definitely shocking to see all the levels of tech use, the significant change. The Pokemon, I'm glad that you agree with that. It just blows my mind every time. So thank you for participating. So you can see that everything changes so quickly. And back in the later 20th century and throughout the 21st century, um, they knew that we were preparing kids for jobs that didn't exist yet. The economy was changing, society was changing. And so various groups had gotten together to start finding out, okay, what in the world skills do our kids need to be focused on? And so this was developed through several educational and workforce focused initiatives, totally research based. And a few of them are there on the screen. And so you'll see nonprofits, educators all came together to identify the skills that our students need. Now, you can find a variety of lists, and some of them are long and some of them are as short as the 4 C's, which is what we're going to focus on today: communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and creativity. So being able to communicate, if you've been around children for any length of time, you know that that is a skill that they definitely need to be able to share their thoughts, know how to ask questions, know how to add on to something that another student or another person has said, to be able to work together to reach a common goal, being able to have that mindset, the growth mindset, where they can feel confident in contributing to that collaboration. And of course, critical thinking, which one of the examples we will look at today is one of my passionate ones, for that computational thinking. And it crosses over all subjects, all disciplines, so as do all four of these. And then creativity, trying to find new approaches, trying to innovate, design, and have new inventions. So as mentioned, we are going to look at this presentation through the lens of create, explore, connect. And that takes a lot of those 21st century skills and just couples them together. So we're going to create, so we're encouraging hands-on learning for them to design, to develop critical thinking skills, to innovate. We're going to explore, maybe bring the world to our students. Many kids do not have the same experiences. And so how can we level that playing field for all students? And how can they go beyond their community? And then be able to connect, such as virtual visits and exposing students to future careers. So our first example is where you would simply have blocks and the students would be creating the blocks, but you have one extra little piece. There is a picture of something that you want those students to mimic. Now, in the speaker notes, for those of you especially that are educators, I have copy and pasted a few standards that this aligns with for the gold standards for preschool, kindergarten, and first grade. And basically, this is not something extra. So everything that we're talking about today is standards aligned. So depending on what your standard focus is, this might be a library, or you might have a fire station, and the students are creating and trying to build it using what you provide, whether that's Legos or blocks or what have you. Then when we move over to explore, maybe they are going to actually explore what they built, but in a real time, such as in this particular case, I picked a library. And this is a 360-degree video. So on YouTube, they have 360-degree videos. You do not have to hear this. I'm going to play it more for you to see how you can interact with videos that exist online. So this is a high school library. One thing that you will notice is that there's a little circle here. And for 360-degree videos, when they have these, you can click and move all around. You can look up, you can look down. It's 360 degrees, and you can explore a variety of locations. So they created, for example, a library. Then they can actually explore it and see what that looks like. I mean, what if you have a student that has never been to a library? So this one is for a high school library. They have a variety of thousands of 360-degree videos on YouTube. And this is one way that you can bring that real life experience to a classroom. So now what I would like for you to do is I would like for you to pause, because I feel like it's great for us to apply this right away so that you can get some ideas of what else is out there, because I only showed you a library. So I'm going to pause for about a minute. In the show notes, I have several 360-degree videos, but you can also just use your phone and Google 360 video YouTube. And then maybe you want to go to London, or maybe you would like to look at the Boston Library, or a particular college campus. You can search and see what you find. So I'm just going to pause for a moment so that you can see what you find. And if you would like to share in the chat, please feel free to. Let us know what you find. And remember, you just click and you pull and you can see all around. The roller coaster. Okay, so the spacewalk roller coaster. Jurassic Park was showing up a lot when I was just seeing what would show up on a random Google search for this. So it is a lot of fun. And Allison also shared one that she found that was skydiving. I have not tried that. One of my best friends has tried to get me skydiving. Maybe I'll show her this weekend and tell her that this is good enough for me. Thank you for those of you that shared. There are so many experiences. There are zoos that will actually let you explore. So, hey, if a student hasn't been to the zoo, maybe a particular district can't take the students to a zoo. Well, then what's the next best thing? We could virtually attend. Now, and you'll notice that you did not have to put on headsets. You can actually do this from a front of the classroom, like with an interactive panel. You can use an iPad, or a phone or a computer. There's a variety. And let's see what this other one was. So Holly found a shark one. I will warn you that sometimes they will catch you off guard. So you might be, the shark one is the one that reminded me of this. I was underwater and all of a sudden one felt like it came up like right behind me or right to the side of me, and it can make you jump. So these are some great examples. Now let's look at Connect. So with this same example, we could expand on that standard that we were focusing on. And I'm going to just keep with the library. So one way that I might connect would be to bring a librarian or an author or someone to speak to the class where the students can ask questions and experience, it'll just a little bit more of a human touch for that particular activity. You also could bring in people that were related to building, such as architects, construction workers. You can just imagine the list goes on and on. And there are a variety of resources out there that give you a list of people that would be happy to join a classroom. Now, speaking of that, we are to our first actionable next steps. So, yes, for an educator, they could maybe visit ELRI or our STEM Center at Louisiana Tech and learn more about what resources are out there and maybe specific activities aligned to their unit and their standard. But what about a business leader? What are some things that they could do? And teachers, you can do this too. Well, Discovery Education has a Career Connect, and you can quickly sign up for Career Connect. I put all the directions in the speaker notes, but this link also takes you to a Google Doc that has the directions, and you can fill out information so that teachers can contact you and bring you into their classroom. I mean, how much fun is that? So again, this is Discovery Education, Career Connect, and this is how you could sign up to connect to a class. So now we're going to take a look at a second example. And this example is with a little bee-bot. So for this one that I have here, example 2, I have Diary of a Wombat, mischievous little creature. And we are going to read a story, and then we have the students sequence the story with a poster. They're able to take this little bee-bot, sit him there, and program him to move to retell the story. So they're going to be retelling the story. There's pictures on the poster, and they have to program him using these arrows. And it is super easy. Because this was going to be a face-to-face, I had to try to think of a way to bring this to you for you to be able to test it out. So luckily, there is a way for you to explore here in just a moment. So this is super simple. You'll notice I'd break down coding into 3 categories. We have directional, we have building blocks, and then we have written code. So I call this one directional because all you have to do is know how to use arrows. So if you will follow this link, if you'll type that in, there is actually a website that has digitized this experience. Now, the mats are not the exact one that I was talking about. You can make your own posters, but if you will visit this website, from the down arrow, you can select different maps. So you have some that have streets. This one has an alphabet on it. And then the pictures that you see, the home, stop, and the arrows, that is how you program your little Bee-Bot so that he can move around. So in your mind, you're just picturing that he's traveling to different parts of the story and the students are retelling the story as he travels. For this one, maybe you want it to go to the first letter of your name. So if you click up, turn, forward, and then push go and see where your Bee-Bot travels. If it doesn't go where you want it, you simply click X, and that will clear out all the programming. So I'm going to pause again for a moment and let you test out how easy it is to bring coding into a classroom using a tool such as Bee-Bots. Okay, so hopefully that was long enough for you to just get an idea of how you can interact with this. I'm actually at a school today, and it was very exciting when I got here. I found out that the severe profound class at this particular school, it's an elementary school, uh, ages 3 through 5th grade, um, actually used these yesterday and fell in love with them. So one thing you're going to notice, something that I just want to mention that's happening in your brain, is that all of the arrows, the directional items, are the same color. And though you don't have to actually speak it to the students' brains are grouping these items together. And so as they progress and have other coding opportunities, they're going to learn what functions relate with other functions. Oh no, a district has the site blocked. Okay, and also these Bitly links, for those of you that are teachers, the Bitly link itself might be blocked, but if you go into the show notes, I have the long version there. I know that the district I used to work for, Bitly was blocked. And so these shorteners should work fine from home, but if you're at school right now, the long ones are in the speaker notes. Okay, so how could you explore? Well, we're just going to go back to our cute little wombat. And wombats are from Australia. I would guess that the majority, if not all of the students, have not been to Australia. So one way that you could explore would be using Google Earth. You can actually go to Australia, you can travel down the road, you can look at their landscape. Um, maybe you could be on the lookout for a little Joey. I know that I've had students that have said that they have found some because that's one of the places that, for whatever reason, they have selected, even if they were high school students, that they wanted to visit. So one way to explore connected with this particular experience would be using a free resource such as Google Earth. And now for the Connect. So those of you that are old enough to remember Flat Stanley. So Flat Stanley there was a book, and then you would color him and you'd send him to different locations, take pictures, and then the classroom was able to maybe pin on their map where all he had traveled and learn a little bit as he explores. Well, there's actually a link in the speaker notes because right now there's an exciting Flat Stanley happening on TikTok. So I did include his collection. I believe he has 4 videos so far, and they created theirs collaboratively in teams. So it was the circle table, the triangle table, and so he received their Flat Stanleys, and then they have different experiences that they would like Flat Stanley to do. And so he is actually doing that with them and bringing us along with him. Well, what about if you had a backpacking wombat instead? I mean, so I just have a little coloring sheet here, and you could pair up with a variety of early childhood centers or kindergarten classrooms or other classrooms and do the exact same thing. So this was just another example of a connect. And again, in the speaker notes, you will see a link to a Flat Stanley example that is going on right now. And that one probably is blocked if you're at school right now. Okay, so what's an actionable step that could happen for this particular experience? Well, if you're a business leader, you could adopt a classroom and provide a little beehive like what you see on the screen. These are around $100 each. The little beehive, they actually can be carried to a variety of groups. So you have them all together, and this is where they charge. So that was why I have that one up there. If you are a teacher, we would be happy to have you at Ellery or at our LaSTEM Center skills, and we would can support you with how can you integrate this into the classroom. And you can see what the importance for supporting computer science. The growth of STEM jobs is 3 times as fast as non-STEM jobs. 67% of new STEM jobs actually involve computing. I cannot express enough how much of a change in several students' lives when I was teaching in high school, when they started getting interested in coding, that I wonder, especially one particular student, what would have happened if he would have had this experience as a special education student in kindergarten, first grade, or whenever the students actually have a growth mindset and they find out, oh, wow, I can do this. And if the younger that it starts, the more opportunities this is going to open up. And there is a link to a little white paper from code.org with information directly related to Louisiana. So I do have a little bit of that information on the screen, but the full paper is also on there. And one thing that is 100% true is that this is a fundamental skill for all students, and it helps the students think. You can imagine how many times, even when you go to the website, that you might have to clear out because you didn't have it go forward. You had it turned, but you forgot to have it go forward. Then the more complicated, you can keep going and get more advanced as you go. Okay, so let's take a look before our time runs out with another one. So this one I happen to have here with me also. So I have the book, What Do You Do with a Tale Like This? And I actually created this activity for Read Across America where students colored in as we went through. Oh, they picked their favorite nose, and so they drew it in. And at the end, they created their own animal and had to name it. Well, then we took it one step forward, more for the explore, and we started talking about, well, what are some other things that the animals need? And we used merge cubes. And I do not know if this is going to work well over Zoom, but we will try. I did link a video in case this isn't as easy to see as I hope it will be. So we used a merge cube and we looked at different animal skeletons. Now for this one, because I wanted it to be a little bit larger, I'm going to show you the solar system. And basically you can think of this as a QR code. And depending on the app that you're using, that is how it will change. So I'm going to attempt. So if you have an iPad, students can hold this merge cube and they can look at the solar system, but you can also click different parts. So let's see how quick I can do this. If I click on the sun, oh, I did, yes. Then I will only see the sun, and you can tell that there's more information. If I click the little pink button, it will drop down information. You can have a whole scavenger hunt with this. So depending on the app, you can change this into a heart. You can change it into this little cartoon Mr. Body and look at the lungs and learn about the lungs. But the students are able to interact with this. And the best part, now, yes, I have the foam one, but these can be printed off for free and you can make the box yourself and it will work with all of the free apps. Thank you, Dr. Vincent. I remember presenting this for the College of Ed when I was still consulting full time. And I promise they went out. There was someone in the audience that was ordering on Amazon because they were afraid they were going to run out. And someone left right after the presentation because there was a dollar sale. They're now like $20. There was a dollar sale at Walmart, and I was spreading the word as fast as I could. And someone from our department was able to land 120 of them to give out to kids. It was really exciting. Okay, so now I bet you're wondering, okay, what about the Connect for this? So I went back to the zoo idea, but this one is for particular animals. So they could pick, so give them some voice and choice. They can pick from all these animal cams, and then they can learn more and explore more about those animals. Oh, I also matched this up with a tool called Padlet because even littles could use this particular tool if it's already brought up for them because they just push a button and then they can talk about the animal that they saw. There's no writing needed. They could draw pictures and show pictures, and then you can share all of these with the other students. A second option, there are little microphones that they just have to push a button and they can talk into, and then they can play it back. So there's a variety of resources out there. So now we're going to look at the actionable steps that were already mentioned and then discuss one additional one. So we had the Career Connect, where you could volunteer to connect with a classroom. Teachers can also connect within the different schools. EduBlogs is a great one that usually has a lot of teachers and schools that are wanting to connect. Then support computer science, maybe whether that is purchasing or checking out some various resources that could be brought into a classroom. And this isn't where every student has to have one. If it's for the younger students, you probably want them paired in twos, would be ideal. But if you need to pair them up in fours, then you can. The older ones definitely can handle being paired up in threes and fours. But if you can get them into pairs, that would be great. So our last one is advocating. So whether that is participating in Read Across America or sponsoring a Read Across America in your classroom, finding different people to follow and share through social media. So build a professional learning network that aligns with advocating for the 21st century skills in early childhood. This could be our skills, LaSTEM Center. It could be ELRI. It could be LACUE, Louisiana Association of Computer Using Educators. There's just Discovery Education. There's all walks of life you can find, and then help spread the word. What are they doing? Is there an event going on? Can you share that information? There's day of code is another option. Maybe you can't, you don't feel comfortable bringing coding into the classroom right this second, but you're like, oh, I could plan an event. Or maybe you're a business leader and you could plan the event and you could do a pop-up event that shared the day of code, shared the experience of a day of code for students. It's all about learning, growing, and sharing. Another option, we have YES, Youth Engineering Solutions. That is, I know I keep mentioning them, but they do so many wonderful things. Our LaSTEM Center actually brought YES for North Louisiana or anyone that wanted to participate. And you sign up, the teachers were paid, and then they not only got the knowledge, but a whole box to take back. The school that I'm at right now, they were already digging into it within the next week. So for kindergarten, I think it was like solar hats. You can go to their websites. The links are in there so that you can explore further. And then, of course, just being aware of our needs right here in Louisiana. We need computer science courses, standards, having computer science required in high school, having it integrated into pre-service programs and promoting that. There's a variety of ways that you can learn about the needs and get involved with being a bridge to bring those needs, even if it's one classroom at a time. So that is it for the presentation. I am so excited that we were able to make it in time. And just to mention that these are just a few little highlights. There's so many possibilities. And with the wombat and the what do I do with a tail like this? I was just going to mention, even if you're a science teacher, you can bring literacy in. Here's sheep in a Jeep. And we do function and motion. I mean, force and motion, function and motion. We do force and motion whenever we're working with this. So this is in a literacy class, a science class, social studies class, ELA, all across the curriculum. These 21st century skills can be easily integrated and standards aligned.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Lisa. Is there any, we do have a few minutes for questions. Does anyone in the audience have a question for Dr. Lisa? There's been a lot of participation throughout her presentation, which has been really exciting. I actually have a question. There's been a lot of conversation around screen time and how to best utilize screen time for like quality development opportunities. What are your thoughts around how much time we should be putting our littles in front of these 21st century resources?
Well, that's one of the reasons that I brought a variety, because I'm not going to put like minutes on it because I have not researched exact minutes, but I believe that variety is key. So with coding, there are activities that literally are almost like a bingo card, without going into too much detail. This is not requiring any kind of screen time whatsoever. I did link one that's digital, but I wouldn't have the students use that. I would have something that is hands-on, does not require an iPad or anything like that. Um, I think that it's just a good balance, and to know that you do not have to use a computer to bring these the computational skills of coding into the classroom. There are blocks that have been made. I can't remember I think Laura Fleming is one of the people that made some coding blocks that can be brought in. So there's a wide variety that do not require digital. I did not use headset for this particular one. Instead, I did the 360 experience, and that was because there's a variety of research of how young you should start that. And so that was one of the main reasons I did not bring the full headset for this particular situation. But I do feel like you have to also weigh the importance of the experience. If you have a classroom of students, and let's say that half of them have never been to a zoo, well, it would be important for them to have some of those experiences. So is the experience worth it, or is it an activity? The technology is a tool. Sometimes it's the right tool and sometimes it is not.
Thank you for that feedback and insight. We do have another question. Do you provide professional development for ECE agencies or providers?
Yes, we absolutely love to support professional development. So, and we also can even do a train the trainer. We know sometimes it's hard for a group to come to tech. So we sometimes we have groups that come to tech with students, and we model an experience where they travel to the different centers. LISTEM also has students that come and have a full day of experience with them. But we do train the trainer where you could send one or two people. We work on the various content, and then you go back with the resources you need to be the leader at the school. Or you can also have full professional developments like you're accustomed to, where it's large groups.
Perfect. And I'm going to give you 1 minute for an elevator pitch. What should we say to convince parents that giving students these kind of resources are important, particularly around like technology-based resources? What's your elevator pitch for parents?
Okay, so I used to have to throw the pitch more than I do now because I wish I could, let me see if I can reach it. Um, During Christmas time, so many coding activities, coding games start coming out that if you just start kind of watching for the various STEM toys that are out there that actually are promoting 21st century activities. Like, I mean, this is one of them that I remember seeing a lot would be the Sphero. So I would say emphasizing the computational thinking and that it is cross curricular and it builds a foundation for learning. Um, and the fact that we need to prepare them with, we need to supply our students with skills that they could utilize in any job market whenever they are entering a career.
Love it. Perfect. Perfect elevator pitch for us. And a little Christmas plug in there too. Well,
Yeah, at
thank you.
Christmas time, they start going a little crazy. I started having grandparents coming to me and going, "Hey, could you do a grandparent PD and just show us what we should be getting our kids, our grandkids? You know, what are some things that would be good for them?" And they wanted to
Exactly.
be the hip grandmas.
Of course, gotta be. We love a hip grandma. Well, Dr. Lisa, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your expertise. We will make sure that her contact information is submitted through the Zoom lobby. So if you have any extra questions, you're welcome to reach her there. There is details on your next session that actually starts in just 5 minutes at 10:55. You can go back to the Zoom lobby to find that next session that you're interested in and join from there. If you have any questions, our support team is here to help you. And there's a chat in the lobby as well where you can ask your questions. There's also a survey. We love surveys. Please respond to that survey so we can make sure that we can be better for next time. Again, thank you so much, Dr. Lisa. And to all of you, thank you for joining us. And we hope you enjoy your next session. Take care.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.